Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, both the economic survey, 2018-19 economic survey and 1920 economic survey have covered about insolvency and bankruptcy code, and 2018-19 economic survey have given around nearly 8 to 10 pages for bankruptcy code. And since this is one of the most important money and banking current affair topic, either from the economic survey or from the concepts related with the bankruptcy code, definitely you can expect a question for your coming prelims. Okay, so be thorough with the bankruptcy code. All the current changes, all the current affairs related with the bankruptcy code in the last 2 years have been covered in both the economic survey. So this session will help you to know about all the updates related with the bankruptcy code, and if a question comes, you can easily answer it. Okay, so I will stick to what have been covered in both the economic survey in relation to insolvency and bankruptcy code. So I will ask you to revise the insolvency and bankruptcy code. And long back, I have shared a video on insolvency and bankruptcy code. For those who are not my student, you can watch in the YouTube. For other my students, already I have covered it. So this, consider this topic as an updation for the insolvency and bankruptcy code. Okay. Okay. Now regarding what the survey says, okay, regarding the, you need to have an idea. Prior to 2016, we had many other recovery mechanism when there is any bank default happens. Okay, when a borrower default, we had mechanisms like Sarfasi Act, Log Adalat, Debt Recovery Tribunal. But compared to all these earlier resolution mechanisms, insolvency and bankruptcy code have been quite effective. One of the reasons for the success of the insolvency and bankruptcy code is the time limit set in the insolvency and bankruptcy code. Okay, and in the last 3.5 years of its functioning, and most importantly, the many changes which have been brought in the insolvency and bankruptcy code through the various experiences the regulator and other agency had. Bankruptcy code, you can now say that, okay, it is the most effective mechanism to resolve issues related with insolvency and bankruptcy. Okay, so this background you need to keep in mind. Okay, so and one updation you need to keep in mind, which is not there in the economic service, that after the lockdown, okay, after March 2020 lockdown, okay, currently you know that many companies are facing problem related with the lockdown. So for time being, the insolvency and bankruptcy code have been suspended due to the this coronavirus pandemic. Okay, so currently it is suspended, but RBI will revive it once the situation will become normal. But the last 3.5 years of its functioning resulted in many changes to the bankruptcy code also, and it have been effective also compared to the earlier debt resolution mechanism. So that you keep in mind. Okay, now so basically the insolvency and bankruptcy code, in short IBC, okay, seeks to achieve the resolution of corporate debtor. Okay, any corporate debtor who have defaulted or whose loan have become a bad loan. Okay, so to resolve the corporate debtor in distress. Okay, so basically the IBC is aimed at helping to resolve the corporate debtor in distress, and in case, see, so the first step always the this code will try to do is to resolve the corporate debtor who is in distress. But if the resolution fails, so resolution will be in the form of a, okay, the company will continue to function as part of resolution. Maybe what happen is that the management may change. Okay, but in the resolution part, as a going concern, as a functioning company, it will continue. But if the resolution fails, if the resolution to continue the company with either with new management or with some some resolution mechanism agreed by the creditors, if that happens, then that it will continue as a going concern. But if the resolution mechanism fails, then IBC clearly says that it should go for liquidation. Liquidation means selling it off, selling the assets of this corporate debtor, and try to pay back the creditors as well as whoever any dues which is left based on the liquidated money, that money which the corporate the insolvency resolution professional get, okay, from that money based on the arrangement, priority arrangement, mainly it will be given to creditors, financial creditors, especially secured creditors, followed by workman compensation, then unsecured creditor, and that list goes on. Then finally to the government dues, and then you know that various shareholders, etc. So there is a priority mechanism is there for liquidation. So I am not discussing all these things. I have covered it earlier. Okay. So have an idea. There are two things. First, IBC will try to do is, first aim is of the IBC is to resolve that company. If the resolution fails, then no other option to sell it off. Go for liquidation. And the key thing about IBC is that it will happen in a time bound manner. Okay. So earlier when the IBC time limit was 180 days plus additionally 90 days, but through the second amendment, the time limit have to be increased to 330 days. Okay. So time bound manner is very important. In 330 days, including the time taken for litigation. So maximum, the IBC clearly says that this process have to be finished. Insolvency resolution have to be finished in 330 days. So this is one of the advantages of the Bankruptcy Code. Okay, in a time under the supervision of National Company Law Tribunal. National Company Law Tribunal have a very important role in the effective functioning of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, so under the oversight of the NCLT, either resolution or liquidation happens. Now, under what economic services, these financial creditors have been provided with greater role and powers through the Committee of Creditors. Okay, through the Committee of Creditors includes mainly the financial creditors, both secured and unsecured. But financial creditors have been given more power in terms of voting, etc. Okay, so financial creditors basically those banks, NBFCs, etc. who have given loan to the corporate debt. Okay, they have a greater role in regarding the resolution. They play a very important role in resolution under the Committee of Creditors. Okay, then we know that as part of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, once the application of a corporate debtor is taken up by NCLT, okay, what the NCLT will do, so anyone can apply, either the corporate debtor or financial creditor or operational creditor can apply for insolvency resolution. Okay, so once it will be applied to an NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. So once the NCLT take up the application, it will appoint an interim resolution professional, and once it is approved by the Committee of Creditors, this resolution professional, this insolvency professional, again he plays a very important role. Okay, so what happened is that once the insolvency process starts, this insolvency professional will be managing or controlling the entire management of the debtor, and control of the assets of the debtor will be handed over to this insolvency professional. Okay, so now there is a cadre of insolvency professionals there, because they are in charge of management of the corporate debtor, okay, as well as managing the assets of the corporate debtor. So insolvency professional is very important in the Bankruptcy Code. Okay, so insolvency professional, his responsibility is not only controlling the assets or management of the assets of the debtor, he is also responsible for operating the insolvency professional is responsible for operating the debtor's enterprise as a going concern, and he will also managing the corporate insolvency resolution process. Okay, so the corporate insolvency resolution process will be managed by the insolvency professional, a very important person in regarding the Insolvency Code. Okay, so these are the things, important points covered in the 2018-19 economic survey. And economic survey also talked about a Sashakt. Okay, this can be a potential prelims question. Okay, they can ask you what is this Sashakt. Okay, so it is as a part of resolving the bad loan problem or stressed assets. RBI, this resolution scheme, basically Sashakt is a resolution scheme to resolve the problem of non-performing assets through a market-led approach. So after the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, this Sashakt was introduced by RBI in July 2018. It's nothing but a resolution scheme. The aim of this project, Sashant, is that to resolve the problem of NPA through a market-led approach, okay. So this, Sashant, entails the participating banks, the banks who have given loan to the corporate debtor, to work together under an intercreditor agreement, okay. So intercreditor agreement was a previous prelims question. So in order to ensure that the bankruptcy process or resolution process is effective, all the lenders, okay, they will, that is creditors, they will form an intercreditor agreement, and most of the decision will be now taken up through a majority decision making is being cleared, so that there will be no delay related with the different lenders or different creditors. If they have a problem or disagreement in regarding the resolution, that can be resolved through this intercreditor agreement, okay. So as per the economic survey, under the project SASAC, which mandate the banks to form a intercreditor agreement, okay. As of the data mentioned in the economic survey, March 2019, 35 banks have signed intercreditor agreement. More banks have also joined the intercreditor agreement. So just have an idea what is this intercreditor agreement. Basically, the creditors who have given loan to a debtor, in order to expedite the resolution process, an agreement have been signed, and majority of the decision will be done through voting, and based on the majority, the decision will be implemented, and the rest of the creditors will approve that decision, okay. So we'll coming back to, so this, since this also mentioned the economic survey, this can be a question such as, okay. Now coming back to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, okay. So the background you need to keep in mind, okay. You need to keep in mind who all are involved in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, okay. We know that insolvency professionals is there. We know that insolvency regulator is there. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Regulator, IBBI. Okay, then the company law tribunal and its appellate body, okay. Then various machineries like, okay, this information utilities, all are there, a part of, plays a very important role in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, okay. So regarding the implementation of IBC, you need to have an idea. Economic survey says that, okay, the IBC was enacted on May 2016, and so this is a timeline has been given in the economic survey regarding in 2018-19, not the 1920 economic survey, 18-19 economic survey, and it says that, okay, we require an adjudicative mechanism under IBC. So on June 1st, 2016, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, as well as the principal bench of the National Company Law Tribunal at New Delhi, and the 11 benches were constituted. So in June 2016, both the National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal was established. Regarding NCLT and NCLT, I have covered it in your phase, okay. So that is also very important. They can ask you question regarding National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. It's a very important pillar of IBC. Then Insolvency and Bankruptcy, the regulator was set up in October 2016, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, a very, very important regulator. And as of now, this is also very important, okay. There are 3 insolvency professional agencies, okay. There are 3 insolvency professional agencies, okay. And there are more than nearly 2000 insolvency professionals are there currently registered under the IBC, okay. So this is also covered in the economic survey. There are 3 registered insolvency professional agencies, okay. So this insolvency professionals and insolvency professional agencies all are regulated by the regulator, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So the 3 insolvency professional agencies are, number 1, Indian Institute of Insolvency Professionals of Institute of India Chartered Account, okay. So basically, the Institute of Chartered Account of India have opened an institute, okay. The Institute of Chartered Account of India have opened an institute, that is Indian Institute of Insolvency Professionals of Institute of Chartered Account of India. So they have started an insolvency professional agency. Then similarly, the Institute of Company Secretaries, okay. So chartered accountants have started an institute, company secretaries have started an insolvency professional agencies, that is Institute of Company Secretaries of India's Institute of Insolvency Professionals. This is the second agency. Chartered accountant, company secretary, they have their own professional agencies, insolvency. Then the third one is the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, okay. The Institute of Cost Accountants of India also have started an agency, that is Insolvency Professional Agencies of Institute of Cost Accountants of India, okay. So by November 2016, we had 3 insolvency professional agencies. Insolvency professional agencies. Okay. So that also you keep in mind. Now, one important thing regarding the among many economists was that, okay, whether this insolvency and bankruptcy code will get delayed in the due to the legal proceedings. Okay, once the National Company Law Tribunal takes a decision regarding an insolvency process, okay, there is a chance that the corporate debtor may go for appeal either in the appellate tribunal or then go to High Court and Supreme Court. Okay. So in order to resolve that, okay, this is a mechanism where the adjudicative, in most of the cases, the adjudicative mechanism or the legal proceedings will end with National Company Law Tribunal. Maximum, it will go against the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. And what important thing happened regarding this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is that the constitutional validity of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was upheld by the Supreme Court. Okay, so now there is nothing to worry. Nobody will challenge the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code because Supreme Court have upheld the constitutional validity of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, so this can also be a question. They can ask you what is this important case. Okay, in a very famous important case, this case is mentioned in the economic survey. Swiss Ribbons Private Limited versus the Union of India. Okay, Swiss Ribbons Private Limited case. In this very famous case, which is mentioned in the economic survey, Supreme Court in its upheld the constitutional validity of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in its entirety. Okay, so this is regarding the implementation of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, over a period of time, the adjudicative mechanisms like Company Law Tribunal and Company Law Appellate Tribunal are set up. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, which is the regulator, have been set up. And then insolvency professional agencies and insolvency professionals were registered. Okay, and then information utilities were set up, which I'll discuss regarding information utilities. And finally, it got the constitutional validity. Its constitutional validity was upheld by the Supreme Court. Okay, all these things is mentioned in your economic survey. Now coming to the progress made by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, so regarding the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, okay, in order to empower RBI, okay, in order to empower the RBI regarding the insolvency and bankruptcy process, okay, the Banking Regulation Act was amended in 2017, May 2017. Banking Regulation Act was very important amendment. Okay, Banking Regulation Act was amended in May 2017, which has given an extraordinary power to RBI. So RBI, from after this Amendment Act to Banking Regulation Act, RBI now has the power to direct the bank to take defaulting borrowers into insolvency. Okay, if a bank is having any defaulting borrower, and if that bank is not taking that borrower into under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, then RBI now has the power to direct the bank to take that defaulting borrower into insolvency process. So this power to RBI have been given from 2017 onwards after the amending the Banking Regulation Act, which is a very, very important amendment. After RBI got this special power to direct the bank to ask its bank to defaulting members into insolvency process, what RBI have done is RBI have set up an internal advisory committee. Okay, RBI have set up an internal advisory committee which recommended, this internal advisory committee of RBI recommended that the filing of cases under the IBC in all accounts, all the bank accounts, both fund and non-fund based which is having an all bank accounts which is having an outstanding amount of greater than 5,000 crore. Any bank account which is having outstanding amount of 5,000 crore and with 60% or more as non-performing. So these are the two important criteria. Any bank is having a corporate borrower who is having an outstanding loan amount of 5,000 crore and above. Out of this 5,000 crore and above, if 60% of this loan amount is default or is in non-performing, have become a non-performing asset as on March 2016. So these companies will be, the banks should go take these companies into Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay, so the insolvency and bankruptcy process under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code should be taken up against those corporate debtor who is having an outstanding loan amount of 5,000 crore and above, and whose NPA, out of this amount, if the 60% of that have become an NPA, it has given a timeline of March 2016. Those corporate debtors should go under the insolvency resolution process. So based on this internal advisory committee recommendation, as well as the power RBI have got after amending the Banking Regulation Act, okay, RBI recommended 12 large account, okay, 12 large corporate debtor who qualified under the recommendations of the internal advisory committee, okay, and these 12 large corporate debtor constitute 25% of the current gross non-performing asset. Very important, okay. Just 12 corporate debtor constitute 25% of the gross non-performing assets of the entire banking system. 12 corporate debtor constituting nearly 25% of the gross non-performing assets, okay. And this 12 large accounts have been given different names, okay. They were also called as dirty dozens, okay. So why dozen? 12. Dirty means because this actually it's not that important, but it has some newspaper have covered it, okay. This 12 large corporate debtor who have defaulted have been in news consistently, okay. Most of these, nearly 8 of these corporate debtor, their insolvency process have been completed, okay. So that is one of the success of this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, okay. So nearly 12 large accounts went into the insolvency process, but it took more time to complete it rather than the initial set time. But anyway, it is considered as a success. Then later on, so initially 12 corporate debtors were RBI directed to the bank. These 12 should go under the insolvency. Then later, 28 large accounts. So initially 12, then 28 large accounts which is qualified under the internal advisory committee recommendation. 28 large accounts which constitute around, so this 28 larger accounts constitute around 2.3 lakh crore of outstanding loan. They were also referred under the IBC code, okay. So 12 plus 28. Then other than the RBI directed, many companies were their insolvency process started either by the initiation of corporate debtor themselves or by the creditors, either financial creditor or operational creditors. Okay, so that is the progress being made, okay. Then after that, I told you currently as per the economic survey, both the debtor, see, one of the interesting thing about the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is that both the corporate debtor as well as the creditor, that is creditor includes financial creditor and operational creditor, they can initiate the insolvency process under the Bankruptcy Code, and with 2,542 corporate having very large non-performing asset account is currently, so 2,542 very large non-performing account is currently undergoing the insolvency and bankruptcy process, okay. So this is a trend. This trend I have taken from the 1920 economic survey. The data is not important, but you can see that, okay, I told you currently it is suspended. Before the suspension, every quarter, nearly around, see in the April-June 2019 quarter, 300 corporate insolvency process have been admitted by NCLT. Then in July-September quarter, 565. October-December, nearly 565 cases were admitted. The total number of cases in the resolution plan has been approved is the number been given. Then number of cases have been withdrawn is given. Number of cases settled is been given. These numbers are not important, okay. Then the total number of cases under liquidation is also given. We know that, okay, normally they will try to go for resolution. If it fails, it goes for liquidation. But what I am just trying to show is, this is the important thing, okay. This is the source for IBBI, okay. See, in each quarter, okay, financial creditor, they have initiated 129 cases. Operational creditor, they have initiated 154 cases. Corporate debtor initiated 17 cases. So if you look into the financial creditor, operational creditor, they are initiating more compared to the corporate debtor under the insolvency process. Okay, just this information you keep in mind. Okay, financial creditor, operational creditor, corporate debtor, all can apply for the insolvency resolution process to NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. Again, what the economic survey says that, okay, see, they first find out, okay, what the number of large corporate account currently undergoing the insolvency and bankruptcy code, and they went for the sector wise. This table shows that, okay, nearly 41.2%, okay, nearly 41% of the cases, okay, are manufacturing sector, okay, admitted by National Company Law Tribunal, okay. Nearly 41.2 cases, can see that the number of cases, okay, nearly 41% of the cases admitted by National Company Law Tribunal for corporate insolvency resolution process are in manufacturing sector, followed by real estate, renting and business activities. So the largest number of sector which has currently undergoing the insolvency and bankruptcy process, manufacturing sector, followed by real estate, renting and business activities. Why I am mentioning this is that both the economic survey have mentioned this important point, okay. So sector wise, generally UPSC will not ask, but since it is covered in both the economic survey, if it comes, you can easily answer it, okay. You no need to remember other sector, okay. Just have an idea that these are the two things which mentioned in the economic survey: manufacturing, followed by real estate, renting and business activities.